Hi, it's Eleanor and I'm back. I'm sorry I haven't been about for the last few weeks. I've just been completely inundated with work, but I have a tiny bit of free time now, so I thought I'd share with you kind of what I've recently been reading and what I'm currently reading as kind of a quick catch up. Like I said, I've been super busy, so I haven't really had a time to read much kind of outside of school because I've just been so focused on schoolwork and my extended essay which I was doing, but I did manage to read a couple of things. So the first thing that I read was a play, and it was A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. So basically what happens in this is that Blanche Dubois, I think that's how you say her name, she travels to stay with her sister, and her sister Stella lives in kind of New Orleans, and she stays with her for a certain amount of time, and then things kind of escalate from there. I didn't really know how to feel about this. I think it kind of reminded me of The Great Gatsby, because when I read The Great Gatsby, I didn't feel anything. Like, it was a nice book. I get kind of why people might really love it, but it wasn't amazing and it wasn't awful. It was just kind of like, meh, and I think it was the same with this one. Like, there was such like an overriding sense of melancholy. Like, there was no hope within the book. It was just very sad, but it wasn't devastating, if that makes sense. It didn't really make me feel as much as I thought it would. And so overall I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I am studying it hopefully next half term, kind of after Christmas and stuff, as part of my English coursework, comparing it with Sylvia Plath poetry. So maybe once I've studied it I'll like it a bit more, but I'll keep you updated. The next book I read was Margaret Atwood's The Pelanopiad. I think that's how you say it? I'm not entirely sure. So this is part of Canongate's myth series, and it's basically retelling all these different myths, and Margaret Atwood was one of them. This is the first Margaret Atwood book that I've read. I've got Handmaid's Tale on my shelf, which I've been meaning to read for a while now, but yeah, I don't know. So basically in this book it's retelling the Odyssey from Penelope's perspective, and it's very short, obviously, because Penelope doesn't crop up that much, and I don't know how to feel about it, because I enjoyed some of it. I enjoyed kind of like how it had a different perspective from the maids, because in Homer the maids are, adulteresses, and they are seen as evil and they all die, but then within this it is different, and you get a different relationship with the female characters, which I think is a really good idea. But then some of it I didn't understand. I didn't agree with her attitude towards Helen, and I didn't agree with some of the other things, and it's just I just don't know how to feel about it. And I feel like her writing at times was good, but then at times it was a bit too simple for me, and it didn't really work within the book as a whole. And so again I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And finally, one of the books that I'm reading at the moment is Caitlin Moran's Festo. So Caitlin Moran is a journalist come feminist, and she is very funny. She writes for a newspaper, The Times, and I read her columns like all of the time, and she's very funny, but she flips from being funny to talking about really serious issues, and that's really reflective in this book. And I'm only about 130 pages in, but I'm really enjoying it, and she does bring up some interesting topics. And the other week I saw her talk at the South Bank Centre as part of the South Bank's Week of Women. It was on the Day of the Girl, so she read some extracts from her books, and she had a couple of guests in to talk with her, and it was so good. It was just what I needed in my life, and I'm so happy I went. And the 2 guests that she brought on, they were both teenagers. They were both 18, I think, and one of them was the girl who created the petition so that the government wouldn't scrap feminism from the A-level government and politics syllabus. And so she basically managed to get a complete U-turn from the government, and so feminism's still on the syllabus, which is incredible. And the other girl was a spoken word poet, and she read out one of Callan's pieces, and it was so beautiful, and it was just such an incredible day. I've read How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran as well, which I really enjoyed, and so I hope that Festo, I will like it as much as I did How to Be a Woman and her columns in the Times. So that's my little catch up for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you soon. Goodbye.